Language death is not mainstream theater. It is not mainstream anything. Can you imagine Hollywood taking it on? It is so far outside the mindsets of most people that they have difficulty appreciating what the crisis is all about, because they are not used to thinking more about language as an issue in itself. Somehow we need to change these mindsets. We need to get people thinking about language more explicitly, more intimately, more enthusiastically. Interest in language is certainly there, in the general population. Most people are fascinated by such topics as where words come from, or what the origin of their town's name is, or whether their baby's name means anything. They are certainly prepared to play Scrabble and a host of other language games ad infinitum. And language games are often found on radio and television, too. But a willingness to focus that interest on general issues, a preparedness to take on board the emotion and drama inherent in the situation of language endangerment, is not something that happens much.
I became interested in, what would you call it? The behavior, the psychology, perhaps, of crowds, after getting caught up, quite by accident, in a demonstration that turned into a bit of a riot. You may have seen it on the news not long ago. What interested me was, first, my own reactions to the way the whole mood changed from peaceful demonstration to violence. Secondly, I wondered if everyone else was feeling the same as I was, and what that said about us and how we behave in crowds. Why is it that perfectly ordinary, respectable members of the public can start behaving in ways they wouldn't dream of doing when at home or among friends? A crowd, it seems to me, has a collective mind. Each person there adds his or her mind to the collective mind, and willingly gives up all sense of judgment and responsibility. It gives you, I suppose, a feeling of freedom, of not having to be in control. It allows you the freedom, or you allow yourself the freedom to behave in ways that, if asked, you would say were against your principles, or made you feel guilty in some way, even criminal. The contemporary world has changed dramatically for the last decades. Reason lies in the fact that it has become more consuming than it used to be. The development of new technologies triggers the necessity in money. That is why people start working harder and harder. On the one hand, that obsession with money may be related to individual psychics. One realizes that money has become an integral part of human existence and she feels miserable without it. Consequently, the individual starts satisfying the demand of money by working hard, and on the other hand, the obsession with work is a kind of social disease. That means that people are influenced by social need in work. It does not matter whether this type of work brings satisfaction or not, because everyone works.
French food is quite famous around the world. I think the best thing is the bread. It's very, very different. Even if I go here in any bakery, I cannot find the same bread. The bread in France is very soft, and it almost melts in the mouth, and I think that makes it famous, the food in France. We do have that because it's very cheap and people like it cheap, and there is something very fast and we can find chain restaurant everywhere, but most of the time we find independent restaurant, small restaurant. France is an expensive country. You can find good meals for €10. You can find for €10 or €12 a good restaurant and good meal. You can have a package with the dessert and the soda and everything, or you can order what you want on the menu. I don't have any brother, but my mom teaches how to cook. My parents are from Morocco, so she teach me how to cook Morocco food. I think it's alfeza. It's like bread with lentil and meat and sauce.
The entire job of issuing and collecting books and journals is managed by a librarian who sits near the entrance. There are 3 large tables that serve as a reading room, where we can read newspapers and magazines. The library provides us with an excellent scope to acquire knowledge and information on a variety of subjects in a peaceful environment. Though books are issued for a maximum of 1 week, the poor students are issued books for a longer duration in order to help them in their education. The Sanskrit dramas cover a wide range of subjects and types of play. They include full-length poetic love stories, political plays and palace intrigues, as well as shorter farces and one-act love monologues. The foremost drama genre is centered on the character of a noble hero. These heroic dramas, often with plots derived from tradition, are called natakas. Another important type of drama is a kind of social play dealing with various kinds of human relationships. These plays, mostly invented by their authors, are called prakranas. And one particular crop, almond in the US and now in Australia, is transforming the world of beekeeping and bees. What has happened is that something serendipitous came along that people found out. That doctors found out that almonds are good for you. A confection, but it's good for you. The almond board got a very aggressive promotion going on for almonds. They actually, I just heard recently, send out sales reps to cardiologists at hospitals to promote the heart benefits of almonds. In a very good promotion of almonds, and it's legitimate promotion because they are a healthy food.
What does water purification mean? Basically, by purifying we are freeing water from any kind of impurity that it may contain microorganisms or contaminants. This is not a one-step process. Water has to be purified by following a series of steps. These steps depend on the kind of water that is, whether it is groundwater, lake water, seawater, etc. to clean or purify water. Different techniques can be used. Choosing the techniques will depend upon the contaminants present, rural water source standards that have to be met, and also the finances available. The methods of purifying water include boiling, ion exchange, distillation, reverse osmosis, electrode ionization, solar disinfection, potable water purification, etc. Any of these and many other methods can be put to use to purify water, though filtering is not enough to completely purify water. It is a necessary initial step towards complete purification.
cheapness and its cinematic markers, such as handheld camera work and low or high contrast light, aren't themselves guarantors of a tone of artistic authenticity. In fact, they're often misused by filmmakers short of inspiration as badges of sincerity that take the place of actual artistry. The theatrical realism of many older, ostensibly classic movies have dated terribly and reflect the very exclusions and compromises of the system that produced them. Only the ingenious exertions and inventions of a slender minority of great filmmakers could circumvent and override them. Yet, critics fetishize the styles of studio-era movies and take them for an enduring and immutable aesthetic standard, as if, with an appreciation of Shakespeare came a comparable fixation on lesser Elizabethans and a disdain for latter-day dramatists for not writing in iambic pentameter.
The fortune of becoming a fortune teller is a dream for everyone. You get the privilege of looking into the future of others. In some places, they are called psychics. People come to a fortune teller to resolve their problems. The forecast made by a fortune teller may not be exactly true. Fortune tellers are not respected in some places. But, in some places, they are respected a lot. Many get married only after asking the fortune teller. Fortune teller take this work as a divine work. Even many entrepreneurs start the business after consulting a fortune teller. Fortune tellers use different methods to tell fortune. Some use numerology. Some use astrology. Some use cards and some use crystals to gaze into the future of others.
A small boy entered a coffee shop and sat at a table. A waiter came forward, put a glass of water, and asked the boy to place an order. He inquired about the cost of a sundae. The waiter said 50 rupees. He checked his pockets and asked the waiter again, "How much does vanilla cost?" The waiter was impatient because there was a huge rush today and people were waiting for the table. The waiter said 35 rupees. The boy asked the waiter to get a vanilla. After the waiter brought the order, boy ate the ice cream, paid the bill and left the place. When the waiter started cleaning the table, he was astonished at what he saw. The boy had left 15 rupees as a tip. According to latest IMD, India Meteorological Department, report the real-time rainfall statistics for the pre-monsoon 2016 season. India has received 128.2 rain against the normal rainfall for the season as 131.5 mm, departure -3%. Out of 36 sub-meteorological divisions, 8 Met subdivision received excess, 16 normal, 9 deficient and 3 scanty rainfalls. Scientists at IMD are expecting El Niño phenomena will influence the
Animal rights have been under intense debate on public domain since the 1970s, thanks to the awareness generated by several NGOs, non-government organizations, like PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. According to one school of thought, zoos should not be banned, but the animal should have freedom within zoos. But according to another school of thought, zoos should be banned as they violate animals' rights and animals should be in there. English had barely established itself as a language in England when it began moving to other countries to be used there as well. First it headed north to Scotland and then west to Wales. It then made its way across the sea to Ireland. That was in the Middle Ages. Over the course of the following centuries it has put down roots all over the world, from the USA to South Africa, from India to New Zealand. Of course, in all these countries it has developed in special ways to suit the new contexts in which it found itself.
A country's standard of living generally depends on the size of its national income. Standards of living are measured by such things as the number of cars, televisions, telephones, computers, washing machines, and so on, for every 1,000 people. There is, however, no standard international index, which is why national income figures are used as a substitute. But the use of these figures to compare the standard of living between countries needs to be done carefully, because they are, at best, only a rough guide which can be misleading.
Students will study the language literature in ancient Greece. Students will study the language literature in ancient Greece. The seminar on writing skills has been cancelled. The seminar on writing skills has been cancelled. You need to collect a clear note while learning new languages. You need to collect a clear note while learning new languages. There is a display screen in the large lecture room of the theater. There is a display screen in the large lecture room of the theater.